Pay attention to the security camera outside room 113, 11:47 p.m. A girl rushes out, moving quickly, desperately. 4 seconds pass. A man follows. They disappear from the screen. 4 minutes later, they both return. This time, he grabs her arm, forcing her back inside. She resists every step of the way. Her body seems to be pulling away. 15-year-old Elizabeth Ennen has only minutes left because the man in the hallway, the man her family has trusted for over 20 years, has decided that she will never return home. Tonight, Elizabeth thinks she's earning money for her brother's birthday. Tonight, this man chooses the unthinkable instead of accepting the consequences. This is the story of how surveillance footage turned one family's nightmare into undeniable truth.
She was very bubbly and outgoing, and she loved singing and dancing. And
her mother, Virginia, describes her as mouthy at times, but with a sweetness that was undeniable. She was becoming a young lady, taking on more responsibilities, eager to help others. On this particular evening, she was babysitting for the Salinas family, close friends the Ennens had known for years. The family was temporarily staying at the Carriage House Motel while searching for a new home. Bert Salinas, the father, viewed Elizabeth almost like a daughter. Virginia trusted him completely. When Elizabeth left that evening, carrying nothing but her purse, neither mother nor daughter imagined it would be their final goodbye. The hours tick by, midnight comes and goes. Virginia expects her daughter home any minute, but 1:30 in the morning arrives, and there's still no sign of Elizabeth. Concern begins creeping into worry. Then comes a knock at the door. Elizabeth's brother Kevin rushes to answer, expecting to see his sister. Instead, standing on the porch is Bert Salinas, holding Elizabeth's purse. Bert explains he's returning the purse Elizabeth forgot in his car. He tells Virginia he dropped Elizabeth off just 15 minutes earlier, watched her open the screen door. She must be upstairs sleeping, he suggests. But Virginia searches the house top to bottom. Elizabeth is nowhere to be found.
She didn't ever come in the door.
This makes no sense. Elizabeth was afraid of the dark. She would never stay outside alone at night. Something is terribly wrong. Virginia calls the police immediately. Officers arrive and take statements. Bert appears genuinely worried, confirming he drove Elizabeth home around 1 in the morning after she finished babysitting. His wife and children back up his story. They'd all been out playing bingo together. Police urge the family to stay calm. Teenagers sometimes make impulsive decisions. Maybe she's with friends, maybe even a boyfriend. She'll probably turn up in the morning. Virginia's told to wait 24 hours. But waiting feels impossible, that heart-sinking feeling that this was not normal. Elizabeth wouldn't leave without her cell phone. What 15-year-old goes anywhere without their phone? When a young person plans to run away, they don't just leave home with nothing. The next day arrives. Still no word from Elizabeth. Virginia calls the police again, panic rising in her voice. She's a scared mother needing answers. Crucial time has been lost. Officers return to speak with Bert Salinas, the last person to see Elizabeth alive. He repeats his story. Arrived at the motel around 6:30 with Elizabeth, left with his wife and older daughter for bingo, returned at 1 in the morning, gave Elizabeth a ride home at 1:30. Realized she'd left her purse, drove back to return it. The account checks out. His family confirms every detail. But now it's been 24 hours since anyone has seen Elizabeth Ennen. Investigators begin contacting her friends, family, neighbors. Was there an argument, a reason she might want to leave? Who were her close friends she might stay with? Then Virginia calls with potential breakthrough information. One of Elizabeth's school friends believes she saw her in a white car at the intersection of 98th Street and Indiana Avenue. Police rushed to the location 8 miles away. That was a great moment of hope. If somebody had seen her, she was okay. They could get her home. That was what they clung to. Just the hope of her coming home. When investigators arrive, there's no sign of Elizabeth or any white car, but they spot something else. A gas station at the intersection with a surveillance camera pointed toward the road. Has that camera captured video of Elizabeth in the white car? Will this silent witness help police find Elizabeth Ennen before it's too late? In a back room, investigators cue up the tape. The quality is low, grainy. They rewind to the approximate time of the sighting. Minutes pass. Then they see it. A white car pulls up, parking almost out of range. The driver's door opens. They zoom in, trying to identify who gets out. But it's impossible to see clearly. 6 minutes later, the door opens again and the car drives away. They attempt to get the license plate number, but the video is too grainy. The promising tip has led nowhere. Even if Elizabeth was in that white car, police don't know where she's gone. The family is devastated. That just meant they still didn't know where she was. They were lost and felt lost. Police are back to square one. But these seasoned investigators have a theory. In most runaway cases, teenagers leave to be with a boyfriend or girlfriend. Does Elizabeth have a boyfriend who might have whisked her away? At this question, both Virginia and Bert Salinas go quiet. They reveal Elizabeth did have a boyfriend. Bert's 19-year-old son, Umberto. The age difference was too much for Elizabeth's mother. The teenagers were told they could not see each other. It was understood that Elizabeth was upset over this. Police now think they have the case nearly wrapped up. Humberto and Elizabeth are most likely together. At this point, investigators simply assume she was a runaway because she wanted to stay with her older boyfriend. Bert believed his son and Elizabeth had left together. Police immediately start looking for Humberto Salinas. He has theft charges against him, and despite multiple calls, he's not answering his phone. Even more concerning, Bert shares a troubling suspicion about his son. If Elizabeth makes Humberto mad, if she's with him, he might do something to harm her. Investigators visit Humberto's registered address. He isn't there, and it looks like he hasn't been for a while. Humberto Salinas doesn't want to be located. He won't return phone calls to police or his own family members. It's now clear to police that Elizabeth is hiding with her boyfriend Humberto, making this a runaway case, not an abduction. Her family doesn't agree. The police were telling them she was a runaway, and the whole time they knew it wasn't true. 13 long days pass with no word from Elizabeth. Police have moved on to other business, but Elizabeth's family is frantic. She didn't run away. Virginia puts up flyers until 2 or 3 in the morning all over town. As a mother, she was looking for her child. She wanted her baby back. By now, local media has picked up the story of the missing girl. Elizabeth's face appears on television screens and newspapers all over West Texas. Virginia makes emotional appeals.
If you see this and everything, please just come home. Call Mama.
The increased media interest brings dozens of tips. Most go nowhere. Then on day 15, a tip comes in that gets their attention. A woman says she's seen Elizabeth Ennen and Humberto Salinas at a dollar store in central Lubbock. Investigators rush to the store. The manager confirms a young woman and her boyfriend were seen there. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. This makes police feel better. If she's just going around shopping, more than likely she's a runaway, not someone who's been kidnapped or harmed. But there's only one way to be sure. They retrieve video footage from the store. In the office, the manager cues up the tape from internal security cameras. He presses play, and 10 minutes in, they spot something. There are moments when you first put the footage in that you're excited, because being able to spot her on video would really bring answers to the investigation. They scour every frame. Then they spot a young girl about Elizabeth's age with a man who could be her boyfriend. They follow the pair through the store on different cameras, hoping for a good look at their faces. The girl matches Elizabeth's size and body shape. Even her hair is the right color. But then the girl suddenly turns and looks straight at the camera. That's when it becomes clear. It's not Elizabeth Ennen. It's a younger woman with another gentleman, another dead end. It's very disappointing having to contact Virginia and let her know there was no merit to that tip. Very disappointing and disheartening. So far, none of the sightings have come to anything. There's been no activity on Elizabeth's social media. She doesn't have her mobile phone. It's starting to look less like Elizabeth and Humberto just ran off together. You can deal with a runaway scenario a lot easier than dealing with the fact that your child has been taken. Elizabeth's boyfriend Humberto is still missing. Police escalate the investigation, bringing in kidnapping expert Detective Ray Martinez. He's known as someone who could get people to talk. Detective Martinez speaks with Bert Salinas again. Perhaps he'll provide a new lead in the search for his son. Anytime there's a big age difference between teenagers, it's certainly a red flag. Martinez discovers that Humberto has recently fallen in with a bad crowd and often doesn't come home for days at a time. Bert gives police a list of friends his son could be staying with. Officers hit every house on the list. Finally, a young woman tells police she saw Humberto several days before. She knows exactly where he is right now. He's off donating blood. Or that's what he told his friend. When police find out Humberto is at the plasma center, they get excited. Maybe they're getting to the end of this investigation. All they want to do is locate Elizabeth and reunite her with her mother. They arrive just in time and spot Humberto at the clinic. It's time to find out exactly what he knows about Elizabeth's disappearance. They bring him in for questioning. Detective Martinez goes to work on his suspect. When interviewing Humberto, Martinez tries to gauge if at any point he becomes emotional or defensive about his relationship with Elizabeth. They grill him for hours. Humberto swears up and down he has no idea where Elizabeth is.
You didn't see her at all that day?
No.
Nothing?
No.
How many times did you talk to her on the phone?
Once.
Do you prove any of this?
Check my phone.
Then he says he broke things off because his father didn't want him to have anything to do with an underage girl. He advises investigators the last time he spoke with Elizabeth was over the phone the night before she went missing.
She just wanted to come over to my house. I said no, okay? We got in a fight and then I hang up on her, okay?
After that phone call, he never saw or spoke to her again. Martinez and his partner both feel Humberto is very calm and cooperative. They gauge he's telling the truth. Up to this point, police believed that once they found Humberto, they would find Elizabeth. But Humberto's story adds up. Their most experienced interrogator believes him. There's not a shred of evidence against him. Their best lead turns out to be a dead end. Now they're back to square one. If Elizabeth didn't run off with Humberto, where did she go? Detective Martinez revisits the timeline of the night Elizabeth disappeared. Is it possible she realized she'd left her purse back at the motel and walked back for it herself? Police start tracing the route she could have taken, looking for clues along the way. Did Elizabeth come back to the motel alone late at night? They start questioning guests about whether they saw her. Are they now looking at something more ominous than just a teenage runaway? Then investigators spot something that gives them the lead they're looking for. There are surveillance cameras at the motel. 4 of them. The footage from all 4 cameras is sent back to the station. Police are about to get their first glimpse of Elizabeth since she went missing. The footage from the Carriage Motel is queued up and ready to go. Everyone watches it together on a monitor. There are several cameras to choose from. They start with the one positioned just outside the Selena's room, room 113. They queue up to around the time Bert said Elizabeth arrived. The footage is low quality and only shows a frame every 4 seconds. For 10 minutes, they watch an empty corridor. Then at 6:18 in the evening, they spot a figure walking toward the camera. They zoom in but can't identify him. It looks like there might be someone behind him. They step forward a single frame. That's Elizabeth. The video is of poor quality, but good enough where they can recognize it's Elizabeth Ennen. Police finally have a glimpse of the missing teenager. The first positive identification since the search began. The man with her is family friend Bert Salinas. The tape shows that just as Bert said, Elizabeth arrived around 6:30 to babysit. 25 minutes later, Bert, his wife, and daughter head out for a night out. Just as Bert had told police, investigators feel more at ease at this point, thinking the video would be another step they could cross off, then move on to the next step and eventually find her. Police hope footage from the next camera positioned in the hotel lobby can tell them more. Again, they scroll to around the time Elizabeth arrived. A couple minutes in, they see a figure in jeans and a white top. She's coming down the stairs with a man with his hood up. The man is about the same size as Elizabeth's boyfriend, Humberto. Could it be him? But the man is deliberately hiding his face, and the video is so grainy they can't see who it is. If this is Elizabeth's boyfriend, he's doing a good job hiding his identity. But there are 3 other cameras in the motel. This hooded mystery man might show up on one of them. Detectives have now been trolling through footage for hours. There are several false alarms, but no sign of the man who looks like Elizabeth's mystery boyfriend. Then around 10:45 in the evening on the corridor camera, they spot something unusual. They back the tape up and play it again. It's Bert Salinas heading back to his room in the Carriage Motel, the room where Elizabeth Ennen is babysitting his 2 daughters. What's he doing back so early? That's strange. It's 10:45. but he told police he didn't get back to the room until 11:30. Surveillance video has just caught Bert Salinas in a lie. Investigators watched the camera covering the corridor outside room 113 for another hour. Nobody comes in or out. Finally, at 11:47 in the evening, they spot something. As they watch it for the first time, they see Elizabeth walk out rather fast from the room. But Elizabeth is not alone. She's followed by someone. It's Bert Salinas. Looks like he's running after her. What's he up to? What's going on here? Detectives watch as Elizabeth hurries off camera, followed by Bert. She only appears in a single frame, but that means 4 seconds have passed. In that time, she reaches the end of the corridor. She's running, and it looks very much like she's running from Bert Salinas. From this camera angle, it's impossible to see where they're heading. To find out, investigators must keep scouring every frame of the motel security footage, and the next thing they see will be horrifying. All of us in there are just in disbelief of what we're seeing. Moments later, they walk back. He is holding her arm. She does not seem pleased to be going back to the room they came from. Just 8 minutes later, Elizabeth Ennen and Bert exit room 113 again and walk down the corridor. Detectives switch between the motel's cameras trying to track the pair. This time, they notice that Elizabeth is holding something in her hands. They punch in and try to make out what it is. They enlarge the shot. She had to leave room 113 in a hurry. Exciting is maybe not the right word, but they're excited for the first time to have some concrete evidence. Just a few minutes later, on the same lobby camera, they see something that chills these hardened detectives to the bone. Salinas is trying to walk Elizabeth out, and she turns in a different direction and runs toward a different door than where he was going. As he turns around and kind of corners her into the corner, that was very telling that she is terrified. Elizabeth seems to be cowering in the corner as Bert approaches her. He takes her by the arm and walks out of camera range to the parking lot. They keep rewinding it and can see the interaction where she pulls away from him. She's being defensive, trying to get away from him. It brought tears to investigators' eyes. It's pretty obvious she didn't want to be near him and that he was actually trying to control her. It's clear that something very troubling happened in room 113, something Bert never told police. He took Elizabeth from his room that night and walked her out toward the parking lot. Detectives send a patrol car out to the Carriage Motel and pick up Bert Salinas. From the very onset of meeting him, he always referred to Elizabeth as being like his daughter. Detective Martinez tells him, "Is that really the truth?" Bert denies anything untoward happened that night until Detective Martinez tells him they have it all on tape. He sits there just looking down. After a short time, Martinez asks what's on his mind. Bert keeps looking down and starts crying. Then he tells Martinez he was right. He had ended her life, and he says he wants to tell them where she's at. Bert guides police to a broken down part of the city dotted with abandoned buildings. There wasn't much conversation. They drive down a dirt road for what seems like a very long time. Martinez begins questioning if they're on the right road. Bert has guided them behind a shed. Elizabeth Ennen has lost her life. Humberto Salinas is taken to jail. A parent's worst nightmare is to be told their child is gone. It was a quiet ride to Virginia's home. When the detectives showed up, there were 3 of them, and Elizabeth wasn't in the car. They got out and came up to the porch. Virginia started backing away from them because in her heart, she knew what they were going to say. She collapsed on the porch, just kept saying no. I'm supposed to go first, not my daughter. No Hollywood movie can ever show the true emotion of that mother's scream. Detective Martinez suspects that Bert Salinas came home intoxicated and crossed a line with Elizabeth. His motivation? Whatever Elizabeth Ennen would have revealed to her mother, he was going to suffer the consequences. In hindsight, when he grabbed her from the video, Martinez thinks he had it in his mind at that point he was going to have to silence her. He made that decision at that time and did that shortly thereafter. It was just her smile that lit up a room. She was just so precious. On April 5th, 2012, Bert Salinas II pleads guilty to capital crimes and is sentenced to life in prison without parole. You teach your kids to be aware of strangers, but when it's somebody you know and you trust, your kids trust them. They're the last ones you would ever dream could do something so horrible. Without surveillance footage, no one would have believed it. At one point, it seemed like Elizabeth was looking at the video camera, just the look on her face. Being her mama, Virginia knew. It was like she was asking for somebody to help her, Just the look on her face.